My name is Matthew Brenner, and today I'm with Master Von Schmeling. He is a martial arts school owner, operator, and he started his schools he started teaching in Paraguay in the 80s. And since then, he came to the United States and he has 49 locations, five of which he's opened up this month. And we're recording this in April 2024 across his schools. By the way, these are not just like franchise schools. He has ownership. So he has equity in all these schools. And they do about 2 million plus a month across the schools, about 25 million a year. Master Von Schmeling, thanks for coming on here today. I'm really excited to learn from you. So who was your business mentor? So you have all these locations, you have 49 locations. Who was your business mentor in growing these schools?
There are many. I own five schools in South America before I moved here. Of course, my searching for mentors was starting with my father was always there in so many aspects of my life. When I came to when I was in South America, I have one of my main instructor was Dr. Cesar Osuna. He was the person that took the ATA to South America, and I helped him to develop the South America portion of the ATA in South America. When I moved to Jacksonville, Florida, of course, was Grandmaster Clark, and he's still one of my mentors, and I work very close with him. But I have many mentors and many aspects. But in martial art, I will mention Dr. Cesar Osuna, Grandmaster Osuna, and Grandmaster Clark.
How quickly did you go from one school to many school or multiple schools? Was it like right away you knew you wanted to open up a lot of martial arts schools, or does it just start to happen after years of one?
No, I mean, when I opened my first school in 1983, I knew that I wanted to have multiple schools. And like I say, I opened five of them in the period of 5 years in South America. When I moved here, I worked for Master Clark and I helped him to open multiple schools also. When I moved in 1993, my plan was to open 10 schools in Central Florida. And that happened in the process of 5 years. The first 3 years was to establish a flagship school first and make sure that school become the role model for the other schools. And
Mm.
from there, I started to expand to other states. And I went from Florida to California to Texas, Michigan, Virginia.
We're going to talk about that soon because most martial arts school owners, if they have more than one, it's already impressive. And usually if they grow, it's within their area, within a couple miles. You're doing in different states, so we're going to get to that soon. But you
Okay.
had five schools in South America. So when you moved to the US, did you give up those schools? Did you sell them? Do they still
Yes,
exist?
actually, yes. I have a brother that was helping me somehow, and I gave two of them. Then I sold another one, and I trying to keep with my brother two. Then I sold one, and I give away other one to
Okay.
some of my seniors. Yeah.
Were you able to sell it for a lot to help open up
No,
schools, or is it just
no,
no?
it's not America. It's Paraguay. Paraguay was maybe the second poorest country in Latin America. No, but I have a very good instructor that he deserved. My trust, and he gave me his trust, and I facilitate for him. Maybe for him was a lot of money. It wasn't for me, but for him maybe it was a lot of money at that
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
So why, if you already have five schools that are operating, why even bother moving to the US to start new again?
Obviously you are from here. You don't know what
Yeah.
we have here in America. This is the dream place for I would say 99% of the people in the world to come here. When I came for the first time in 1988 just to visit, I was in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I thought it was the greatest city in the world. And just to give you a perspective of how in love I was with the United States, and
Mm,
of course I want to live here.
cool. So did you have a family at that time, or was it just you?
Yes, and that time I have a wife and a son. In that time, yes.
Okay, cool. So were they excited to move as well?
No, I came first, and I was separated from my ex-wife in that time for the 4 month, and then but I miss my son very much, and then I offered my ex-wife to come to live with me and my son, and then I stay married for the next 20 years. Yes.
Okay. Was that scary leaving your son and your at the time your wife behind to go start a new business, or is it just exciting?
I don't know if the word is scary because I knew what I want, but my goal was to have my son with me for sure. And yes, what's the scary part is that if I cannot bring my son, and I was very blessed to be able to convince my wife, and also uh, my son was 2 years old, and I was very happy to be able to bring them here with me.
Okay. Cool. So were you able to get like a visa to come immigrate, or how did that, did you run across, like what happened?
I don't know how long is this podcast, but I'm gonna try to make it very short. I came as a tourist, and I thought I can just change it from tourist visa to working visa. And Grandmaster Clark was had the same idea. Oh, we're just gonna change your visa, and that wasn't like that. I was working without a permit to work until one day a gentleman appeared in my school with an immigration outfit, and I thought he came to arrest me, but actually he was a former student of Grandmaster Clark, and he offered, oh, he asked me to be my student, and then he told me that he was an immigration officer, the only immigration officer in Jacksonville, Florida at that time, and he extended my visa, my tourist visa, and he introduced me to a lawyer, and the lawyer told me that I need to go back to Paraguay to get my, and it will take 3 or 5 years to get my visa. And I say that cannot be. And he said it's not other way. I say it had to be other way. And then I say, how's these famous people coming to America? I say, oh, those visas called a specialty abilities visa. And I say, I have specialty ability. And say, what is your specialty? Oh, I'm the national champion and South American champion. I can fight, I can teach, I just told it. And he say, can you prove it? And he say, I say, yeah, sure, I can prove it. And how I need to prove it is that with newspaper articles and TV shows and anything that you can prove that you are that person that you say. Then I call my brother to talk to my mother, because as a mother, they always keep every article about their son and newspaper. Then my mother sent a bunch of articles about me, and I brought to the lawyer. It was like this, and the lawyer said, "I think we can do something with that." And he applied, and then 6 months later, I was accepted to stay. Yeah,
Wow. So how many months were you in the US on a travel visa before you got full citizenship?
at least a year and a half.
A year and a half. Okay.
And because this immigration officer that was the inspector, and those days they call the I-94, was a little paper like this, and I just take my I-94 and he write it in a book, and he just stamp it and say extended for 6 months. He did that twice uh, before I had my paperwork. Yeah.
Okay. And then eventually did you get full citizenship?
Yes, of course. One time you had a green card, after 5 years you can apply for a citizenship. Yes.
Okay. So when you think of yourself in terms of your identity, do you think of yourself as South American, like Paraguayan, or do you think of yourself as American? How do you think of yourself?
I choose to be, I'm the proud American by choice.
Proud American by choice. Okay, cool. I love that. There's a lot of people born here that wouldn't say that.
I am.
I think that's great. Okay, so you opened up your school in Jacksonville, your first one. Was it called
I,
Victory?
No, I work for Grandmaster Clark. He has a school, so he has a Karate America. Before that, I think he was calling Florida Taekwondo Jacksonville. I don't remember exactly, but or Bill Clark Karate maybe. And I took the direction of his headquarters. He has two schools in that time, and I work on the first one, and then we start to open other ones.
Mm. Okay, so were you guys partners at the time, or were you
No,
just working for?
I work for. I mean, he always told everybody that I was a partner, because that was important for me, especially because as an entrepreneur I didn't want to work for anybody. But in that time, legally partnership, we didn't have any legal partner, but he treated me like a partner. Yes.
Okay. And then when did you go from partner to owner?
I moved from Jacksonville in 1993. March 8 actually was the first day that I opened my first school in Central Florida.
Okay. Was like Master Clark okay with that because you're leaving him to do your own thing, or was there a battle involved?
Of course, he wasn't okay with it. I was his number one producer and director, and I was taking care of the business. Of course, he wasn't okay, but he became like my father, and in the end, he supported me. He actually helped me to negotiate my first location in Orlando.
Wow. Okay. And then how long did it take you to become successful, or maybe like your feeling of success when you open up your first school?
If we're gonna discuss success, I feel pretty successful in my life from the moment I born. If we're gonna measure it with money, I start to make money the first month because I didn't have much capital and I had to pay my lifestyle, my wife and my kid. And I put a goal that I'm gonna have 300 active students the first year that I open my school, and I pushed for that. And actually, 1 year later, I had 323 active students, and I was doing like $40,000 after a year, and
Wow.
that was giving me enough income to pay my lifestyle and also to hire people and to prepare people and to share and hire instructor and prepare instructors. Yeah.
So this was in the 90s, right?
Yes, 1993.
So in the 90s, hitting 40,000 a month would probably be like hitting like 95 or 100,000 a month here within the first year, which is
We were
fun.
doing those numbers. We were doing those numbers in Jacksonville already. Grandmaster Claro is very savvy, and also he has many friends and mentors also. But one of his best friends is Jeff Smith, Grandmaster Smith, and he was in Virginia at that time. And Master Claro always say, Master Smith, all his school do 40,000 every month, and I want to reach that level. And we start to do those numbers in Jacksonville. Then my paradigm and expectation when I open my school in Florida and Winter Park in Orlando would be to do 40,000 minimum.
Okay. And is that when you open up a school now, what's like the minimum that you want to get to?
This is a good question because it depends where and with the qualification of the instructors. There are schools. Last month I had three schools that one did 129,000, one did 140,000, and another did I think it was like 108,000. Those are big numbers. I also have a school that did 17,000. I opened one school last month in Mesa, Arizona, that the first month did $14,000 in 3 weeks. Then it's depend on the person because the school in Mesa doing over 100,000 every month anyway. Then the same director, we open a new school and his expectation is also to do high anyway. Then immediately, then the first 3 weeks he just did over $14,000.
How is that from getting people to some people pay in fulls early, or is it
Sure.
how? Yeah.
They actually, I was there this last week and I asked him because he already had 80 students in less than a month. And then I asked him, how do you have 80 students? He said, because I
Yeah.
signed in all these families with so many family members that they had 80 students because we promoting like you can enroll your whole family for the price of one. And because we want bodies, we want people in the school. And that was our promotion there. And he's well, his qualification as a community leader is very much he's really involved the community and family. He created a very nice family community and the people love to train with him and with
Mm.
our victory concept. Yeah.
What is the tuition range between the schools? Obviously, different locations are going to be a little bit different, but what's like the
Yes.
range you
we
guys
we
offer?
had like A, B, and C schools based on the location. And the A schools, they are, I don't run in my schools in a daily operation anymore. Then I don't know all the prices, but I know it's $295 or something like that on the A school, and then $50 less, usually 245 maybe in the B schools, and 195 in the C schools, the
Mm.
basic program.
The basic program. Okay, cool. And then what are the schools that do really well, that do 100K plus a month? What do they do differently than the schools that maybe do 30 or 40,000 a month or 60?
Obviously they enroll a quantity of new members every month. They retain much more, and they are able to also upgrade more. Meaning, our business is pretty simple. You have more leads. From the leads, you convert it to new members. From new members, you charge them more and you upgrade them. You upsell or anything. I know so many ways in the martial art, and there are so many gurus in the martial art that have their own way to do stuff. But I believe in the capitalist system in America where you buy something and you constantly want to upgrade something. And everybody in martial arts should do the same. But I know that people say, "Oh, I don't do upgrades," but I think they're missing a major point of
Mm.
revenues. Yeah.
So is every month, like let's say there's 10 people that enroll. Let's just
Yes.
assume how many of those are you trying to get to do
At
uh,
least half of them.
half of them to do pay upfront?
Oh no, at least half of them you're trying to upgrade. Paying full usually is 20% of the people. You don't need to push for it, but people, if you give it saving to people and the opportunity to save money by paying ahead, at least 20% of those people will.
How much do you guys offer?
I'm not very familiar again because we change it according to the season. But
Yeah.
sometimes a year program will be 10% off. Maybe a 3 year program will be 20% off. But most of the time, step the discount, and that way we give month extra for if they upgrade. If they pay for 3 years, they might have 4 years of membership.
Ah, okay. So instead of discounting, you might just give them
Yeah.
extra time.
And that's depend of the we constantly changing our approach on that. Depend on the what season of the year is. Also depend of the needs. Depend on our goals. Yes,
Okay.
we don't. It's not always the same. Every quarter we change it in different approach.
Different approach. Okay, cool. So then when most people like going from one school to two is a lot, but you just opened five this month.
Yes.
Are those five from scratch or are those five that you've taken over? They were existing?
No, actually, I can tell you. I just bought one school in Los Angeles, California, and Encinos on Ventura Boulevard. I just bought in a school that was a premier school that the owners they were struggling with it. I just bought that. I just bought another school from an ATA school in Phoenix. I also opened one from scratch in Phoenix also that was a premier school that and I don't know if you're familiar with the premier school but
Yep.
many schools in the country that they opened that was all set already but they default and the landlord contact us because we had good reputation in the community and we took over. uh, Also we similar exactly similar thing in San Antonio, yes. Then one in San Antonio, two in Phoenix, one in, and we just buying another ATA school also in the Phoenix area also.
So how do you find schools you want to purchase?
They usually come to us. You, I know you are a business owner. People when people want to sell is when they having hard time to deal with their school or they burn out. Most of the time, martial arts school operators that they weren't able to find a way to do it properly, they get burned out and they just want to get out. They get tired from it. And then they contact us because they know that we have the financial resources and also we have the instructors and we have the system to be able to grow. And some of them, they are attached to their student and they don't want just to give the student to anybody and they trust me. That's the way I started. Mesa, Arizona was a gentleman, a good friend of mine that he was retiring and he want to sell his school to somebody that's gonna take care of his students. That he appreciate very much. And similar thing in another school, which is buying now in Arizona, is the same thing.
Yeah, so let's say you open up a school in Arizona or San Antonio. How do you, if the person is leaving, let's say the owner is leaving, they're done.
Yes, yes.
Um, how do you staff it? Do you fly people out there at like instructors you have? Like, how do you figure out who's going to work there?
No, I buy schools in areas where I already have established an organization and I have reliable people that they have the qualification to operate multiple schools. And
Okay,
I, yeah,
so you already had a school in Phoenix or
yes,
okay, or in San Antonio. They have some extra people there that can help operate those
yes,
schools.
yes. San Antonio has six schools. Now we have seven schools. And
Okay,
Arizona, we have one, and then we bought two more and I partner with another person that want to become my partner. That way, can expand it, and then we bought another, and we open another one. Yeah,
how do
that's it.
you? So I think most a lot of martial arts school owners, when they decide to sell, usually the school isn't doing well, right?
Yeah,
Most they're not selling a school that's doing 150K a month, right?
no.
So and whenever I've seen on Facebook, I don't people when they try to sell their school, they usually are not doing well, and then they overvalue how much your school is worth, right? They'll say, "I want 200,000." I'm like, how do you value a martial arts school when you purchase it?
Many ways. Yeah, this never worth 200. I never paid $200,000 for any school anywhere. The most school that I paid was $150,000, and was in San Diego, California, because we won the area. Wasn't worth it. 150 was maybe worth 50,000.
Okay.
but I pay 150 because one of my top schools is a partner with this couple that I know them for a long time. They are my partners, and they are excellent operators. They didn't know how to have multiple school. Then they partner with me, and we're doing it with they're an average of $110,000 per month, and we want to have many schools in San Diego, and we will. And we want in a specific area, and we won that area and was in school there. The location was good, the layout was good, everything. And I prefer to pay $150,000 for it. And yeah, but but again, I don't want to insult anybody, neither the previous owners. It's just it's not worth it unless. And I paid different prices. Sometimes people just gave me their school. I paid $10,000 for a school. I paid $15,000. 50. The most normal prices I pay for a school usually is in between 50 to 75,000.
Do you usually pay over time, or do you usually just give them a lump sum and they're gone?
It's depend. It's all depend. Sometimes I'll give a lump sum. Let's say if it's closer to 75 or 100,000, then I will give them. Let's say okay, then 50,000, and then the next 5 months, $10,000 a month, something like that.
Okay. And then how often does the person you're buying it from, how often do they stay on as an operator or as a partner versus how often do they just leave and they're just done?
If I buy a partnership, it's different than buy the school just. But if I buy a partnership, it's because I care about the partnership more than the operator, more than the location.
Mm.
I buy in a school or I join a partnership with a particular person because I like them, I know them, I know they are reliable, I know that they trust me. Usually, I already have a relationship with them. Uh, it's a little bit. I don't invest with other people unless I like them and I find that they're gonna assimilate the victory culture and they will take me as their mentor. I
Okay.
don't have any
So,
partner that I don't need to. I don't have time in my life today to trying to convince somebody that I'm capable or I know what I'm doing or the victory system is proving everywhere. I mean,
right.
we didn't fail. Let's put
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So you'll become a partner with someone if you believe in the person, not necessarily the area. If you believe in them,
No, I believe in the person, but there are moments that I believe in the person. Then we moved the school because the area wasn't the best area. But usually, I like the area or the city. I have partnered, let's say, in Kansas City because I know this gentleman used to work with me, and he is a fantastic human being and fantastic martial artist. And I believe I can coach him, and he can apply the victory system. He will succeed. Same thing in San Diego, same thing in other places in the country.
are
Yeah,
there usually like specific demographics you look for?
sure.
What highlight demographic areas do you look for?
Our ideal client is parents with children from 3 years old and up with an income of at least $120,000 household income and with a 15 to 20-minute maximum drive time to our location.
To your equation. Okay, so you want $120,000 yearly household income.
Yes.
Do you look at home values also, or just house? Are those the main things you look at?
I look at more like how many elementary schools there are in the area, how many private schools there are in the area. Our location usually has a grocery store disposable where the parents they go to shop their grocery there. They are a quick. Maybe it's a little bit more than just that information, but I just giving you the basic is
The
yes.
basic.
And we are in places like in Vegas that we have. We just negotiating to move one of our school because the household income in that area is only $79,000 compared with the other household income of my other location there. But the instructor is so capable that he's able to do so well in a lower high household income. And we wanted to move, but we do not want to also affect his income just to try. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna let him to stay in that location and open another one under his direction. That way we don't lose this location.
And do you look to see how many other martial arts schools are in the area, or you don't care as long as the household income?
No, not at all. No, and not to insult any of my colleagues in the martial art, but no, I don't care. Actually, if there are many martial arts schools in the area, is because it's a good area and everybody want to be part of that. And we are in America. It's the free competition.
Yeah.
What do you call that? The
Uh,
it is
yeah,
a,
open competition. It's just
yeah,
capitalism,
it's
right?
yeah, yeah, and I love
Uh,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, me too. When I opened my first school, I remember I went to my dad and I was like, there was a martial arts school only 3 blocks away, and I had been there for 25 years, right?
yes,
And I said to my dad, hey, I'm a little bit nervous about the competition because they're so established. They've been there forever.
sure,
And he turned to me, and I'll never forget this. He said, Matt, you don't have to worry about the competition. The competition is to worry about you.
yeah,
And like that was,
and bigger,
yeah, invigorating and empowering,
sure,
right? And we opened, and then we took over the area, and a couple years later they closed,
yeah,
right? I'm not
yeah,
proud that they closed, and I closed them
yeah,
down, but I'm competitive in martial arts, just like I'm competitive in business, right? Like I used to
sure,
be competitive in martial arts, now I'm competitive in business, right? I think that it's good for overall, and it's good for students, right? If you just have some school that's been there forever and doing the same thing for the last 30 or 40 years, hasn't really changed or updated, whether it's the mats or the look of the school or the curriculum or the instructor, then they're gonna grow stale and people are
yeah.
gonna get bored of it, right?
I don't remember who said, but it's just about innovation and marketing. All right.
Mhm.
Then if you innovate all the time and you know how to market your innovation, then you will be eventually the number one in the area. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you partner with someone, is that usually like a 50-50? Do you usually take 51? Do you put money into the school also? How do you usually structure it?
All of that, but I partnered with some people that well known in the martial art industry that now is not, but in one moment Jesse Elder was somebody that was well known in the martial art on the early years 2000, and he was my first partner in San Antonio, Texas, and he gave me his school 49. I took 51% because he was working somehow with me, and he said, what's going to take for me to be your partner? I said, you need to give me 51% of your school, and I will take and I will guarantee for you that you will making the same money that as a salary, the same money that you make it as an owner, and then you're going to keep 49% of the profit. Plus, we're gonna open many because I like San Antonio and I also like him. He is a fantastic martial artist, a great speaker, very motivated. It was one of the best things happened in my partnership, and I learned a lot with him on the partnership aspect. And he gave me for free, and we changed later. We had 7 school or 9 school together. We're doing great, and I learned how to do that. There are other people that I pay for the partnership, sometimes just in a small amount, just to give them something to start it. Yeah, and sometimes I give my own directors that they start with me as employee. We don't call them employee, a team member. I give them the opportunity to buy into the school that they directing. And they can buy 10%, then later 20, 30, up to 49%.
Okay. And do you preset how much it'll cost per percentage or based on how much the school's worth at that time?
I preset the for the director that build the school, he has a special price. Uh, Now I give a period of time that they can buy to for that price. let's
Okay.
say
So
let's say
you
if
give a
you start
deadline.
with me in a school and I say, okay, this is school worth $200,000. All right, this is school worth $200,000. If you want 10% of that, you can buy it for $20,000.
Right.
But we do that maybe in a period of 2 years, and then will cost 250,000 if they don't buy it. Or they buy 10% at 200 price, then eventually it would be 250 or 300. I
Mm,
know. Yeah.
mm. And then when you come in, I think you rebrand most of the time to Victory, right? Or can it stay the same brand as it was before?
I learned a lesson that I would be with 100 school today or more if I learned earlier in my career that the ego and the attachment to the logo and the name for some people is so big that they prefer to stay a little bit broke than change their name. Then I
Yeah.
used to say, no, you need to change it. All right, you need to change it. They fell in love with their logo, for example. And I used to go, no, you need to change it. If not, we cannot be a partner. Then, and I miss great partners in that process. But then I learned that if I let them to keep their logo and we rebrand it or co-brand it, better yet, if we co-brand it and we put under umbrella Victory, but depend on where, if it's a city where I don't have location with Victory, then maybe it's okay that they keep their name in that area.
Okay,
And
so if it's a well-known area or you don't have brand recognition in that area,
yes,
then you
then
let them keep it, but you prefer to match the rest of the Victory brand.
it's not so much because I prefer, but for many reasons, it's better to have one name for marketing purpose, for production of equipment and outfits, something like that.
Or yeah.
And many things is easier to have one brand. And eventually, some of them that they were attached to their name eventually say, let's just go ahead and switch it to Victory. Most of them, yeah.
Hmm. What's your best school, like the one that does, I think you said close to 150? Like, where's that at?
The most consistent one is in San Antonio, Texas. Excuse me, in San Diego, California. The most
Okay.
consistent one in San Diego, in Las Vegas, and then in Mesa, Arizona.
And then,
But I will share with you some human psychology here a little bit, if you don't mind.
yeah.
Long time ago, Grandmaster Clark told me not many people do consistently more than a 3 year to be consistently good. And I understand why, because you work for 3 years, you're making all this money, and now you want a vacation. You want to spend your money, you want to, and you start to take it easy a little bit. Also, you get content somehow. I have I had partners that they make $500,000 or more per year, 300, $400,000. Then if they were used to make $100,000 and now they're making a quarter million, that's a lot of money for them. And when they get that $250,000 income, they start to slow down. They pay assistants to do their job. They go on my vacation. I had a particular one of my partners that he was very content. He and I always mention this. I cannot give his name because, but he bought his house. His wife worked in another job, and he liked wine. And he started to go to Napa Valley, and he bought his the latest Corvette, and they don't have kids, and they had a dog, and it just and he was making $250,000. He was living great, and I instigate him to make more or to grow more, and he say, "Sir, I'm okay with this." And but for 3 years he was making this kind of money, and I didn't push him for more because, hey, is he happy? You talk about success is living happily on your terms, and he was, of course, I want him to make more money. I want to make more money with him. And now this year, last year, he didn't make that much money. He still make quarter million, but not that much money. And now he's interested in open more schools, for example, and supervise two or three more schools. Because
Mm,
he did all the Bahamas trip and the Napa Valley wine train vacation and all this stuff, and he experienced that. He went to Europe. He did all the stuff that he always wanted to do that he wasn't able to do, that now he can do it. And now that he experienced that, he's gonna go to the next level, because that's my job also as their mentor, is to what is the next level in your life, in your relationship, on your, even on your vehicle, on your house, on your way to travel. You flying from coach to first class to private, what is the next level you want? And I
mm,
trying to show them that next level all the time.
mm. But sometimes if they're content and they're just like, hey, this is happy, this is all I want to do, are you okay with that? You just let them be and that's what you
I'm not
want?
okay with that, but my leadership need to be based on their happiness, not on my happiness.
Mm,
And I will influence them and motivate them and show them the next level. And the way we do this, let's say my top people, we charter a plane and we fly somewhere, and we go to first class hotel and we go to play golf, and I don't know, I go to play golf and I love golf. Then if I know that my partner like golf and he's enjoying the place where he playing golf, I take him to, I don't know, Pebble Beach, and stay in a resort in Pebble Beach. And now he go, shoot, this is really golf. And now he's,
mm,
and we do that very often. We go at very expensive steakhouse. We go trips. Like I say, I take my people with charter plane. We go to Sedona and stay there for days and enjoy great places. We go to Vegas. We come in here to Orlando. We go to places where they can feel like, hey, it is a better way to do it,
Mm.
and that motivate them also to upgrade their lifestyle.
So you'll show them, hey, here's a lifestyle that you can have just by living it, and then
Yes.
they'll want that also.
Well, leadership is about being the role model and the inspiration of the people that you lead. And if I have a great lifestyle but they don't, why would they stay with me? Why they don't just open their own school and go and be my competition? Happen to the majority of the people in the martial art industry. I need to walk with them. Yeah, I need to pull them, not push them. A leader is somebody that pull their people with them, not push them. And that's what
Mm.
I do.
Yeah, that's a great distinction. I really like that. So when someone comes on board and they're like, "Hey, I want to partner with you," what kind of, or maybe they want to, let's just say partners for now. What
Yes,
kind of vetting do you do? What do you do? Some of them you might already know and you have a great relationship and you think it'll be great. But
yes.
some of them, if you don't know them, I'm sure there's times you say no, right?
Oh, many times, many
Okay.
times. Yes,
S-
many times, and many times, not many, but a few times. I want to be partner with somebody. I want to work with somebody. They say no. Also, to be fair, I'm not the easiest person to. People say I didn't know this, but people keep saying you are very hard to connect, or you're very. I don't know. What people say that I'm intimidating, for example, which I the last thing I want is to be intimidated, but some people and my character or my personality sometimes maybe not the most, I don't know, people make pay we may say he's very arrogant. I believe I'm very assertive and I move with a lot of assertiveness. I totally feel good with what I know, how I live. Then I not go around and trying to be friend with everybody. If I go to a martial art event or I learning something or I teaching something, I don't go to hang out. If I'm gonna hang out, I hang out with my wife, which I love her, and we go everywhere and we hang out 24 hours. And neither are gonna go to hang out, not to insult anybody, but I don't go to a martial art event to hang out. I go to, I don't know, I've been to 90 different countries. I don't know, I go to New Zealand next month. I go to the Samoa Island to hang out. I go to South America. I go to Europe. I go to Turkey. I don't try to show off here. I just telling you, my personality is if I'm gonna hang out, I hang out. Oh, I play golf anywhere in the world. If I go to a martial art event, it's because I'm gonna learn something from somebody, or I'm gonna be teaching something. And that's my lifestyle. This week, Friday, I'm gonna be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm gonna be with Tony Robbins on his house in West Palm Beach. And if I'm gonna hang out, I gotta hang out with my friends that I can learn something there. And Tony Robbins is my coach, and he's gonna be with us and his wife, and we're gonna be talking, asking questions. I mean, then the other people thinking that I'm not approachable, but it's not. I love people, but I do not waste my time just hang out. I don't.
mm,
I don't know if
okay.
that makes sense for you.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And obviously, the people that you show a really good time to and show them a certain lifestyle, you're going to motivate them in that way. But also in your personal life, you obviously invest. I'm assuming Tony Robbins probably didn't just invite you over as just like some guy, right? I'm assuming you're investing in that relationship,
Yeah,
right?
actually, I had a good friend of mine that he knows Tony Rowan. He's an older guy, and I have been at dinner with him. And today, actually, I was playing golf, and it's a tournament in my country club, and they Sergio, you won't play the tournament because I always play. They say, no, I can't. Oh, come on, because I'm very competitive. And then he said, no, I'm gonna be at Tony Robbins' house this weekend, and go, oh, your friend Tony Robbins. Say, I don't know, if he's my friend or not. I don't know if I stop paying, he will consider. He called me brother, all right? He's like,
Yeah.
hey, brother, brother, but I don't know if I don't pay him, he's still gonna call me brother and invite me to his house. It's not, and I don't need his friendship. I need his mentorship. Yeah,
Mentorship.
I can
Yeah.
make sense very much.
Yeah. I mean, there's two ways to get that, like in terms of friendship. Like you can earn a friendship or you can purchase a friendship, which is okay sometimes. It's okay to purchase a friend,
Absolutely.
right? I think most
I
people.
I'm sorry. I invest around a $750,000 per year on my education, and at least half million go to Tony Robbins and going to him or the activities that we do with him around the world, because we travel around the world with him. We go to places. I was in Nepal and Bhutan, for example. We go to crazy places, just crazy places to learn, to do charity. We do charities around the world and we have fun. But and then Joe Dispenza is one of the person that I follow, and I go to retreats with Joe Dispenza and my wife. And sometimes you go there and just to do meditation for a week, and sound like it's not that much fun, but you learn so much. And yeah,
Yeah. So how many years have you been with Tony Robbins?
I always did. I always did many courses with Tony Robbins. I'd read all his books, listen all his tapes. But in the last 2017, for the last 7 years, I become member of what they call the Lions Club. We are only 35 people in the world that we are in this group, and that costs money, and that is by choice, by selection. And me and my wife were very involved. And Tony, he very much he loved martial art. He knows that I'm martial artist, and we talk about that. And also he also brag about me a little bit because he can tell the other people that when I met him, I had 30 schools, and now I have 50.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really cool. And do you do any other business coaching, or is that the only person you invest in right now is Tony Robbins?
I go to different courses all the time because through the Tony Robbins, I've been introduced to many other courses out there. But my two major ones that I spend money on travel to is Tony Robbins and Joe Dispenza
Joe
for now.
Dispenza.
But of course, I have mentors. Like I say, Grandmaster Clark, I have available Grandmaster Clark 24 hours. He called me at least 3 times a day. I say, he treat me like his son. He called me son, and I'm proud to say that I have him 24-hour available on my side. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's beautiful. So if someone is looking for a mentor or a coach, how would you recommend they do that? Not everyone could pay Tony Robbins six figures a year, right? Multiple six figures a year. How do you find a good mentor or a coach?
I did some Facebook videos before about this because our industry has many coaches, and some of them, in my opinion, they are super qualified, and others they are not. But then that is not just in martial art and everything. My wife does a coaching on feminine. Her company is called the Feminine Freedom. We just finished doing a relationship coaching here in Orlando that I help her. And I work with the men, and she work with the ladies, and then we put together the men, the lady, and the last day. And but what are her qualifications? She live in it. She live 24 hours on her feminine essence. But if she need to change it to be a warrior, she does, because she's also a 7 degree black belt world champion multiple times. Then but she live as a mother, as a spouse, as a then she qualified to teach other women what she teaching. For me, the qualification, same thing in martial art or business, is like how long is a little bit like Warren Buffett. If you're gonna invest on somebody, you need to know how long this person having the result. The famous Warren Buffett has studied the CEO of the company, what he did before, how long this company being profitable, and then he invests on it. I will recommend to everybody to how long this person's doing it and what is the result. If he or she has sustainable result. And there are some coaches in the martial art that they have sustainable result, or they did it before very well, and then they learn to coach other people. Of course, I prefer somebody that coach me that doing it now. That's one of the highest respect I have for Grandmaster Clark, for example, because he I don't know, he's gonna appreciate to everybody knows he's gonna be 78 years old, but he's still moving, he's still punching, he's still kicking, he's still doing his business, he's still involved, he's still. We compare our Grandmaster Clark and me. I have here my Grandmaster Clark and me. We had our this is my profit and loss book, and we had here, and we compare our notes, our profit. He just called me today to check in something. We compare our margin, our losing school, our profitable school, the billing, the cost of marketing. Then the person that can help you the most is somebody that doing it for a long time, and that's sustainably profitable, not
Mm.
somebody that has an spark. If you, I see also in the market say, oh, I'm gonna coach you, we doing $1 million per year, but just in the last 3 years, and you don't know how they do $1 million. Or people go, oh, $1 million, we do $2 million per month, and I don't need to be there. I travel 250 days a year for pleasure. And the idea is that if you had a system, you had a human factor, you had the team, you had the community, you had the culture, and you have the leader that live in and represent what teach. Then if you're gonna teach, you're gonna choose a mentor or coach. That person need to represent what they're teaching. There has to be some congruency. We call that integrity. Is that right?
Yep.
And the martial art, for example, I have friends that they, my gosh, Dave Cover. I admire him. I always admire him because guy's a machine, and he's older than me, and he's always in perfect shape. And if he's gonna teach a technique or something like that, oh, listen to him because he teach every day. And he, I don't want to mention many names because, but I know, let's say for example, somebody that's very smart and educated is Stephen Oliver, and he used to be one of the first person that has multiple schools very young when he was on his 20s. Then I respect him. He studied, he associated himself with people. Master J. Smith worked with him, and some people might have an opinion about him, but my opinion is that he qualified. Maybe he's not running daily operation now, but he did it before, and he's still working with people directly. Just to mention, I know Greg Horton does coaching, and he worked with me. And many that he bring all his stuff to my convention. He always came to my activities, and he's one of the first person that is willing to pay every time he coming to me and say, "Can you show me this? How much is it?" He never come and say, "Hey, can you share this with me?" He's professional, and he pay for any information ever that take from me. He pay for it. Then I respect that because we should do that. We
Yeah.
should value other people's. There are people that go to visit school and they say, "Can I take this? Can I take this? Can I take this?" That's not right. You don't go to a doctor and start to ask him to do free operation for you, or a lawyer. Sometimes we hurt each other by taking for free stuff.
I think now, especially with the internet, you could find almost any information you want for
Yeah,
free, right?
absolutely.
Like someone asked me the other day, I have a couple rental properties, right? And one of them was asking me, "Hey, how can I get involved in renting, buying properties and renting them out like you do?"
Yeah,
And I said, he's, "Hey, I'd love to pick your brain sometime." And I'm like, "How about this? Read this book."
yeah,
And then I sent him a book. And
yeah,
then he messaged me back a couple weeks later. He said, "Hey, I want to call you. Can we chat on the phone? Because if you were going to talk to a real estate mogul, what would you ask him?"
hmm,
And I was like, "Do you?" What I said to him is, Do I have your permission to be open and honest with you right now?" He's, "Yeah." I'm like, "You're not going to ask any question to this real estate mogul that's going to blow your mind, and that for some it's going to be a secret gem that's going to make you a millionaire or a billionaire. What do you think he's going to say that's going to change your life? Nothing." I'm like, "Did you read that book I sent you?" He said,
hmm,
"No, but I get the idea of it." And I'm like,
yeah,
"Obviously, you're not going to take this seriously if you don't take the time to read the book that you sent me. And I'm not going to take my time to sit here and explain to you for an hour for a cup of coffee about how this works when you won't even invest the time to read the book." And that's what I said to him outright. And I'm like, all the person is going to say is, "You need to work hard. You need to do your first investment. You need to find a good property." That's all they're going to say,
you need
right?
to
And
be
by the
smarter
way,
twice. In real
so,
estate, you need to be smarter twice when you buy and when you sell it. Is that right?
yeah,
That's
exactly.
simple.
And so much knowledge is in books and on YouTube now that you don't
And the
need
martial art,
someone.
and the martial art is the same thing. You can even this podcast. I think I give ideas without action, and knowledge is only potential power if you don't put an action. And I believe somebody asked me, and maybe you even gonna ask me, what is the secret sauce of victory? The secret sauce of victory is leadership, system, and leadership. We have the system and we apply with a good leadership, starting with me. Sounds vain, but they start with me and my and the other leaders that we create, and the
Yeah,
community, because isolation is the number one reason that people get stuck or even depressed. People in America, they get depressed because they isolate themselves. It's not vulnerability, not accountability. They don't want to be part of something, or they don't want to put themselves in vulnerable position, and they want to, especially in the martial art, people want to tell you what they do, but they don't want to ask you what you do and how to apply that.
yeah. I always think it's funny because obviously I do coaching where I help other martial arts schools like we do for our schools, right? So exactly like we would open up, "Hey, we opened. Here's what happened. Here's what went wrong. Here's what went great." Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'll help them work their way through it if they have one school, if they want to go to multiple, because obviously, just like I'm sure you had, made a lot of mistakes, right? Like
Absolutely. Yeah.
we've had once, we've had things fall apart, that people quit, within the first
Yeah.
couple days. We've been sued, right? Like all that stuff. So
Yeah.
how do you avoid all those things? And it's funny because when I talk to martial arts school owners before they become a paying client, the ones that are doing pretty well, when I say pretty well, maybe their school does between $20,000 and $50,000 a month. Like they're doing pretty good for themselves, right? Depending on how much. If it's just one person operating a school, $20K a month, and they're pocketing 12 to 15K, you get a pretty good life. But they're doing pretty well. Those are the ones that talk about all the problems they have. This is not working. That's not working. I need help with this, and I need to do better with that, and all the issues they have. The school owners that I talk to that are doing 5,000 a month or 10,000 a month, they're telling me all the things they're doing great. And I'm doing this and I'm doing this market and this works really well and that works really well. And all this stuff that's going great, but clearly it's not going great. Right. And the mindset difference between the two, it makes it so much better to work with the person who's already doing 30,000 or 40,000 a month
Sure.
because they want to improve. And the other person just wants to tell you what they do. And it's so frustrating, especially I want them to hear what they're saying out loud. I'll repeat it back to them, right? So you're telling me that you're okay with your revenue being half the amount it was because now you have less people to deal with. Yes. Okay. I don't know how to even start there, right?
This this is one of the reasons that I'm not very popular in the martial art world, because they used to invite me. When we started, Maya, Frank Silverman was my partner here in Orlando. Actually, we have school together and we own some real estate together. And he's the founder of Maya, and Grandmaster Clara and me, we were with him and we were the main speakers. But I just I don't have the diplomacy to put out with that kind of stuff. When the people I will go to give a speech or a presentation, they trying to tell me what they doing, and in those speech I would say, "Sir, I don't know. Maybe we need to switch places, and you should be here." And I insult some people, and I hurt feelings of people, and then they still invite me to be a speaker because I didn't put out with that kind of stuff. I still don't. I understand it, but I don't have time to deal with that kind of stuff. It's just I value my time a lot. I believe that freedom is the most precious thing we have. Time is priceless, and I value my time. I accept to do your podcast because you call me, and also because it's an opportunity a little bit for me to invite people to maybe to come to my convention to see the convention, how we do it, how we have multiple schools, how we train in our program directors, how we train our instructors, how we treat our team members. We do dinners and prize awards, and we do tournament, we do black belt testing, we do a night of competition for demo team. We do stuff, and because I know that they come to see it, they can copy anything. I don't mind to copy anything. What I don't do is to spend time giving information or coaching people for free. Like I say, my time is. But and that conventions, Grandmaster Clara and me, we spend time with the school owners that are coming there. We spend time. One day we spend time explaining how we do multiple school. Another day we explain how we do the payroll and the systems, or how we spend money on marketing. And another time we show them how we train our instructors and our program directors. And when because I don't looking for popularity, I don't looking for being famous in the martial art industry at all. But if I can help other people, I'm more than willing to help other people. But I don't do stuff for free also. And the reason I don't do stuff for free is because every time we give something for free, people perceive that thing that cost me so much, perceive that it's not very valuable, because it's perception of value. Then we should charge much more. That's the reason that I don't do stuff for free. Is I don't know. In South America, would be really hard to charge for soccer because it's free. Everybody can play anywhere. But in America, they charge for soccer. The kids pay a lot of money to go play soccer. In South America, nobody gonna play. Nobody gonna pay for soccer. Just like in the United States, you don't see school for basketball because anybody can play basketball. But there are other countries that people pay a lot to learn basketball. Then whatever you give for free, you devaluate the product. I lost your microphone a little bit.
There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, we have a saying, when you pay attention, right?
Yes.
It's if someone gives you tickets to go to a game, and you look outside, it's like a little rainy out, maybe it's a little cold. You go, forget, it, I don't want to go, right?
Yeah.
But if you bought those tickets, you're like, hey, get in the car, we're going. I don't care what it looks like outside, right?
Right.
And oftentimes when people ask me and they're not a good candidate as a client, I'll send them a YouTube video, or I'll say, hey, listen to my podcast because that'll be really helpful. But until people make an investment in themselves,
Yeah.
like literally a financial investment, right? Hey, I'm going to spend this amount of money for my education. They're never going to take their own education seriously.
Yeah.
And there's what better investment is there than investment in your education? So I've learned a lot from working with you today, and or talking to you today. And I've always known about your schools because my brother has told me about it over the years. And there's not as much of a social media presence that you have. So this is exciting because I feel like this is going to share like a lot of the magic of what you do for people who maybe haven't seen it or haven't been exposed to it. Thank you so much for being on here today. If someone wanted to reach out to you to find out about one of the conventions or to partner or to find out more, how would they find you?
My email is, let me see, it's a new email that has Grandmaster von Schmeling at victoryma.com. It's GMVS, is a GMVS at victoryma.com.
Okay, great.
And yeah, and the convention is in June, and it's here in Orlando. It's in the Shingle Rosen Hotel. And again, the way we're doing is to have fun, but I do spend 3 days with my fellow school owners from around the country that come in. Like I say, Mr. Horton always bring all his people, and there are other school owners, but there are not that many because also we don't charge $200. We charge like $3,000 for two-person to come. And the
Right,
reason
right,
we do that is because, again, same thing that you're saying happened to me last year. I went to the Masters and the golf tournament, and I paid to go there, and it was raining every day. And I
right.
want to just see it. And then my wife said, "Baby, let's just stay on there because they had some nice places that you can stay inside. You don't need to walk around." And I say, "No, I want to see it." She said, because she didn't pay for it, I pay for it.
Right.
But
Cool.
also, I like golf much more than her, maybe. But
Yeah,
anyway,
no, I definitely hear that. Thank you so much for coming on. My name is Matthew Brenner. If you have any questions, you can email me, Matthew at wyourdojo.com. If you want to grow your school organically, that means without relying on Facebook ads, but actually building a community in your area so you can recruit new students over and over again, you could add me on Instagram at blackbeltbrenner1.